Clemson coming off a bye week, headed up north all the way up to South Bend. We know what happened last time Clemson took a trip to Notre Dame Stadium. We got Jason Priester on the line from allclemson.com on SI. Jason, how you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good, man. How about you?
I am doing well. I'm looking forward to this one. And I think it's going to be maybe a better game than some people anticipate. And Clemson's only a 4.5-point favorite on the road. And we've got an interesting comparison we can look at here. We know that Notre Dame got off to a rough start to their season, but recent wins against North Carolina and Syracuse look pretty good. And they took care of both of them pretty easily. It's not like they were down to the wire games. They pretty much put the beat down on both of them. And of course, Syracuse just went to Death Valley. Unfortunately, we didn't get to talk to you last week because I would have loved to get your take on that game because, of course, Clemson tried to hand them the game, but Syracuse showed up and played a pretty darn good football game.
Yeah. Notre Dame did to Syracuse what Clemson should have done to them. You can't turn the ball over 4 times. 90% of the time, you're going to lose that game when you lose the turnover margin 4-1. Miracle Clemson came back and won that game, especially considering the fact you had to bench your starting quarterback, due to how bad he was playing. But, yeah, I'm on board with you with this Notre Dame take. After the 0-2 start, they've won 5 of 6. And they do what they do, and they're going to line it up and they're going to run it at you and dare you to stop it. That's what they did to Syracuse last weekend, and Syracuse couldn't stop it, and that'll be the challenge for Clemson this weekend. I know Wes Goodwin said yesterday they were going to have to bring their big boy britches this weekend because that's a physical Notre Dame team. I know the passing attack doesn't scare anybody, but they can run the ball, and they're going to run it right at you and dare you to stop it.
Yeah, that's what they did against Syracuse. They lined up and they took control of the game and really shut them down on defense as well. Garrett Schrader had a miserable day, well under 50%, threw 2 picks. Sean Tucker couldn't do anything on the ground. They only had like 60 yards rushing against that Notre Dame defense. So they're going to do it on the other side of the ball. And it starts with a solid front 7. It's going to challenge the Clemson offensive line.
Yeah, I think this is one of the biggest challenges of the season for Clemson's offensive line. They're big. Again, they're physical. That's a physical defensive front. Notre Dame's got pretty experienced too. I know there's only one underclassman on the back end, so those guys have played a lot of football. I know the offense doesn't scare a lot of people, but if you look at the numbers of that defense, in a lot of categories, they're ranked in the top 20, top 30. So despite the slow start and despite having 2 or 3 losses or whatever it is now, that defense is held up for the most part this season. I remember them having pretty good success against Ohio State in the opener for the most part. And, again, they were pretty good against that potent North Carolina offense too.
So we mentioned the game that they both share against Syracuse. So in looking at what Notre Dame did against Syracuse, what Clemson did against Syracuse, can you draw any kind of conclusions from who was successful doing what or not successful doing what?
I think Notre Dame did to Syracuse what Clemson did to them in the second half after they stopped turning the football over. They ran it right at them, and they ran it right over them. I forgot how many rushing yards Clemson had against Syracuse, but it was a bunch. Close to 300, I want to say. But, Will Shipley was well over 100. Phil Maffa was right at 100. After they benched DJ early in the third quarter and brought in Klubnik, he only threw 4 passes. They just ran it down Syracuse's throat. And that's kind of the blueprint to beat Syracuse. They like to rush 3 and drop a bunch of guys into coverage. And if you can get past that first level, there's a lot of room to run. And both those teams had a lot of success doing that. Clemson's just got to protect the football, This is a team that has been very good at protecting the football outside of that one game. I think DJ had 3 turnovers coming into the Syracuse game, and he had 3 turnovers in 2+ quarters in that game. So get back to protecting the football, and I think this is going to be a pretty good game.
Got Jason Priester on the line from allclemson.com. Catch his work there. And also join us here at the Voice of College Football. Please like the video, share these videos out on social media. Not everyone knows that we're here talking college football with you every day. and subscribe. So the national story after the Syracuse game was Cade Klubnik came into the game. DJ got benched. We heard from DJ after the game. He didn't have an issue with it. He knew, hey, I wasn't getting the job done. Coach made a move. Everything's good. Dabo made his statement immediately after the game. This doesn't change anything. DJ's the guy. Is anybody saying anything else? And I don't necessarily talking about anybody that matters, but is there a lot of swirling winds about, well, there needs to be a change, or if DJ doesn't play well this week, then there's going to be a permanent change?
I'll say this. The precedent has been set. We know that the leash isn't going to be extremely long. We've seen it now. So I don't know if we're on the verge of seeing a permanent change. Even after watching Klubnik play it most of the half against Syracuse, I still think the game's too fast for him at times. He made this one fantastic throw on a 2-point conversion in that game. And once he settles in and he starts seeing the field every play like he saw it on that play and things start slowing down for him, he's going to really take off. But there were also some plays in that game where he had some freshman mistakes and things that if you're playing an elite level team that might get you beat. He had a throw that probably should have been picked off. He took a big sack on a run that was designed to go between the tackles, but play broke down a little bit, and he decides he wants to take it around the outside, so he takes a big loss. I mean, just little things that kind of come with experience. And, again, the game's slowing down for some of these quarterbacks who aren't quite ready when they get to this level. So I don't know if we're on the verge of seeing any permanent change. I still think Clemson's best chance is with DJ, and for a permanent change to be made, things are going to have to go off the rails in a big way.